Welcome to Western Door Paranormal Studies. My name is Tony Burtis, founder and lead investigator. Today, on this 4th of July weekend, we are at the Whitehaven Cemetery in Grand Island, New York. Now, in a nutshell, the Whitehaven Cemetery is known for a few various haunts. It's the home of a haunt of a AIDS victim and a Desert Storm soldier. Also, a man in a tall hat has actually been seen around this particular cemetery. And supposedly somewhere in this cemetery, this is the burial site of the famous little girl Tanya of the former Grand Island Holiday Inn, which is now the Radisson. Now, I've been at this cemetery before, and I actually looked around and I found no stones with the name Tanya on it. So, if indeed the little girl that haunts the Whitehaven Cemetery is buried here, Tanya may not be her actual name, or it simply might be the fact that she isn't buried here. Now, one of the things that brought me back here, other than doing a normal follow-up investigation, was the idea that last time I was here, I got an e.v.p. that says, "We need you." Now, one of my focuses on what I'm doing here today is to hopefully find out exactly why indeed they do need me. e.v.p. stands for electronic voice phenomenon, and at the Whitehaven Cemetery we got an abundance. Last time we were there, the most important e.v.p. we got said, "We need you." This time we have a whole bunch of e.v.p.s that don't exactly point to the question of why they needed me, but the e.v.p.s I caught do answer some questions. It didn't take long for us to get e.v.p. once we started working in the cemetery. The very first one we got was a voice that says "out." Now, was it a spirit that was feeling threatened by our presence? Or was it trying to say, "Get out"? There came a point in the investigation where I put my voice recorder on a stone and walked away. You know, kind of a static thing to see if I could pick up any e.v.p.s. Well, it certainly didn't disappoint. What I caught was actually pretty amazing. Now, it bears in mind that the stone I put it on belonged to someone named Mr. Backlund. Now, the e.v.p. I captured says something like, "I am Backlund," in her low, raspy voice. Now, this is significant because it shows that it was an intelligent haunt, that the spirit was trying to convey who he was to me, and may have actually been speaking into the voice recorder. Now, this next e.v.p. is also very significant in that it actually shows evidence of an intelligent haunt. At one point, I ask how many spirits are in the cemetery, and a voice responds with 7. Tell me how many spirits are wandering in the cemetery? Now, Whitehaven Cemetery is also known for having anomalous objects appear in pictures. Well, this particular investigation, it didn't disappoint. Now, my wife Felina actually took a photo of what looks like a filmy object flying amongst the trees. I have actually debunked this as not being a bird, a light effect, or an insect. So, it remains unknown. Could it possibly be one of the 7 spirits that haunts the Whitehaven Cemetery? Check it out. Anybody here want their picture taken? Feel free to jump out in front of my camera. There was an area in the cemetery where Felina mentions that it's unusual that so many stones would be clustered so very close together. Then I get an EVP of a voice that says yes.
That close together like that?
Yeah, it must be.
Are they all the same names? They're different names, ain't they?
Yeah. There was a point during the investigation when my equipment began to act up, just a little bit. And jokingly, I kind of blamed it on the spirits. I said, yeah, you would do that. Well, I heard a voice that said yes. You would do that. Yeah. Now, Whitehaven Cemetery is also known for having anomalous objects appear in pictures. Well, this particular investigation, it didn't disappoint. Now, my wife Felina actually took a photo of what looks like a filmy object flying amongst the trees. I have actually debunked this as not being a bird, a light effect, or an insect. So, it remains unknown. Could it possibly be one of the 7 spirits that haunts the Whitehaven Cemetery? Check it out. Well, we never really did find out exactly why they need me. However, we did prove a few important points about the hauntings at Whitehaven Cemetery, particularly that Mr. Backlund is around, and he could possibly be one of 7 spirits haunting the cemetery. On second thought, they said they needed me. Perhaps this is exactly what they meant. Maybe they meant me to come back to have a few more questions answered about the haunts of the Whitehaven Cemetery.